Summary. This is Casey, and I'm back once more with the amazing, dashing Dave Thier.
Yo.
And of course, the man, the myth, the legend, the analyzer, the analyst, Manu Rosier. Welcome on board, gentlemen.
It's more and more impressive.
We're gonna get so many
I have a
adjectives.
surprise for you.
It's gonna be amazing.
I have a surprise, but I fucked it up a bit.
Good.
So, are you ready for it?
Always.
Okay, can I get a drum roll or something? I don't know. Oh, look at that. Boom. That's a surprise.
Hey.
There you go.
Lovely.
So,
yeah.
Wow. I'm impressed.
I actually got it to work properly before this call, but I have some, because I did it at night, and now it's day, and I have light coming in, and it's obviously not the right conditions. So anyways, if I turn it on, because it's off right now. So
Yeah.
for those who are listening in, I got like a Gies sign, an LED neon type Gies sign. I had it behind me. It's beautiful. But if I turn it on, like the entire room, just like,
It might be the blinding brilliance of our analysis. That's possible.
Yes.
So my recommendation would be to put a black background in the whole of your shelf.
That's a good point. I'll try and do that.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do that. Absolutely. And we'll get the sign to pop even more.
Awesome.
I will do that. So I'm sacrificing everything for you guys, just so you know.
Oh, we know. We always know.
Who is playing Monster Hunter? Or maybe I should ask. Sorry, guys.
Everyone I know is the answer, but
okay. Because I was gonna say who's replaying Monster Hunter, because I lost a save with 20 hours of gameplay, and now I have to start all over again.
How did you lose that save?
It got corrupted.
Wow.
I think.
And there's
I
no
think
cloud backup.
The cloud backup. So apparently, it got corrupted, and it uploaded immediately to PSN.
In corrupted
And
form. Yeah.
And then you look at there's no history. I was like, what the hell's wrong with you guys? Like, why isn't there like at least give me like a day or two of history? And then also, what's even better is that they decided to have all the characters. So if you have multiple characters on the same save, it's one single file.
Yeah. Well done. Excellent.
Yes.
You weren't going to do anything with those 20 hours of your life anyways.
No, I mean, I don't have work to do, so here I am.
Engagement.
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. That is an official.
That's big brain thinking right there.
Hell yeah.
I have news. I yesterday I played a game about digging a hole. And that thing is great, actually. I was expecting just like sort of a fun, like weird little sandbox, but they've it is definitely a considered, put together experience. What a great thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have a new one for you.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna open up Steam Buy right now.
Fluffy Sailors.
Fluffy Sailors. Done.
Yes.
Fluffy Sailors. That sounds exciting.
It's really cool.
Action roguelite, real-time sea battles. Oh, I love the visuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's animals, okay? So you have the cats, you have the hamsters, you have the crocodile, you have turtle, and it's just like a combat game like this, like naval combat, but it's roguelite, so you just go further and further through your journey
this looks like I should buy a Steam Deck for it.
Yeah, it's really cool.
How did this game come up on your radar, Manu?
Usually it's because I'm subscribed to many gaming Reddits. And I mean, if I was an indie developer, that's where I would let people know that my demo is available.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I think 100% of my indie games are coming from Reddit, basically.
That makes sense. I mean, I think that's how it all works, right? It's super difficult to talk to a large audience at once. And so your best bet is always to talk to a small audience and have them talk to the rest of the audience.
And I have another one, which is called Ground of Aces.
Ground of Aces.
Let's have a look at that one.
It's a military base management game.
Okay.
Graphics are cool.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting.
Pretty nice.
Again, another one. And sometimes I would discover games where they are being dropped on the Game Pass or on the Epic Game Store. That's also how I would try some games where the good news is that I don't have to pay for them because they are already there.
Yeah.
And the other game I've played, I don't think I've mentioned that much. I've actually finished that game, which doesn't happen often lately. It's Sniper. What is it?
Sniper Elite.
Sniper not so.
Resistance. Yes. The new one.
Oh. The first one up there on the list. Okay.
It's also in the Game Pass, so that's why I played it.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great map. I'm so into that map. Yeah.
It's some kind of like Hitman type of game.
I was gonna say it's a gamey game.
Yeah.
And you can turn off the like intense X-ray gore, I'm assuming, right?
Yeah. I've removed that, but you can play it in different ways. There are some mechanics, there are some hidden goals, and there is this progression system where you would unlock some skills and some weapons. And I just had a good time, and I wanted to finish it, so I think it's a good sign.
Looks beautiful.
Yeah.
You have to share with us the links to the Reddits that you're following, or back. I think that would be really appreciated for the audience and then for us as well to stay up to date. But there's no, so it seems like you're both out of the Monster Hunter story for now.
I will not be in the monster story.
Yeah, I am observing the Monster Hunter story with much interest. However, I am not a participant in it.
But I will then, in that case, I will add some on my Monster Hunter, experience. Apart from the online part, and then of course there's a lot of technical issues and save issues. But apart from that, minute-to-minute gameplay, depth, co-op, everything that you want from a game to have fun, it's there. A lot of story that at one point I was like, I'm just wasting time. I just want to get into the action. I just want to have fun. I want to hunt monsters. I want to upgrade my weapons, all that type of stuff. Their live service, it's a live service title. I think I said that last time.
Yeah.
Is really cool in the form of they introduce monsters or like variations of monsters that come in and go. So that type of stuff where you you have a moment under a week, you have a specific mission you need to accomplish, that type of stuff. They give you some cool drops. So I'm really enjoying it. Unfortunately, I'll have to restart my journey. I have some friends who reached out like, hey, we'll help you go through the story, because the problem is they've locked you in a certain space. It's called a low tier rank, and you need to finish the majority of the story to go to the high tier rank, where you can actually get to the real stuff and hunt the real monsters, so to say.
Are they different monsters, or are they more powerful versions?
I think it's more powerful versions. Or there's a different take on how you need to tackle them. So sometimes you need to capture them and not kill them. And that takes a different type of skill or equipment, etc. And then also the drops, obviously, that you get from hunting the monsters are different. So that plays a role and a factor on how many times you want to go in and what type of monster you want to do, and the conditions that you want to hunt them at. If it's at day, night, or nighttime. But I'm really happy about the game. I think I got a lot of enjoyment out of it. Highly recommend it. Even though obviously right now they're dealing with some technical issues.
Can you go to the SteamDB 24-hour peak so we can have a
look at that then? I know that Monster Hunter had a drop.
Still doing well.
Yeah, I mean, as you would expect.
They're still doing good, of course. I know that there's another game here that you want to talk about. We'll get to it. I know.
Just click.
Yeah, there it is.
Where is it? Yeah, it's still doing well. Yeah. Just click on most played game.
Let's have a look at that.
And sold by 24-hour peak.
Damn.
Sold by 24-hour peak. Yeah. There you go. Okay. Oh wow. Yeah. So it's like, is that the all time? No, that's the current 24 hours. I thought, what about the old time? That would be interesting to look at. Oh, wow.
All time you're gonna have the usual suspect, but yeah, I see that console. It's fine. Yeah.
So Monster Hunter, for those who are listening, obviously they have the 5th place of all-time peak concurrent users, and then in the 24 hours they have roughly 660,000. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about here, by the way?
If you go back to the order sorting, are you back?
Yeah. We talked about this game as well, right? Last time, Repo.
Yeah.
Yes, it's doing well on Twitch also, and then you have obviously a Split Fiction.
Split Fiction. Oh, Split Fiction. Sorry.
The Split Fiction looks cool. I think there was a couple of weeks ago we had that story about how It Takes Two had sold some gigantic amount, and I think Split Fiction will do well because of that. But honestly, I think the big difference there is the name. It Takes Two communicates exactly what you need to know. Yeah, but I think that's true as far as launch goes. However, obviously what has done it for It Takes Two is the long tail. And that, I think so much of it, I mean, it's a cool game. But the name, if you want to think I want a co-op game, there's no question about what you get,
Yeah, absolutely. But it's a good performance. And to be fair, it's a 90+ Metacritic game. I think it's a contender for Game of the Year again.
Cool.
It's
amazing.
That's great. You love to see it.
Yeah.
But this time I think it's €50 or 40, 50. So the entry barrier is a bit higher, but the quality is there. Absolutely. I think it's better in many areas than It Takes Two. And it's full of pop culture.
Have you had the chance to play it?
Yeah, I mean, my kids are playing it, watching them. Yes, yeah. It's really cool, and also the fact that it's a bit more third person than platformer. Mm-hmm. It Takes Two feels a bit more platformer. This one feels more like a third person type of game, and I think it's also opening to a wider audience probably. And it's really cool. So well deserved. Being top 5 right now, it's good to see. And I think, for It Takes Two, I think half of the players were from China. I think that's what was stated by the developer.
Cool.
And the other I want to highlight is Fragpunk.
I've been hearing about this.
About Fragpunk. I mean, right now, I'll give me just a second. I just want to try. I'm trying to figure out what type of gameplay Split Fiction has.
It's a funny question.
Yeah, it seems like it might have a lot.
Yeah, the pedigree of the studio is that there is not one gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it.
You cannot summarize except by saying that it's a co-op game.
So there's some shooting.
Platform, shooting, puzzle.
Yeah.
Everything you can think of.
Just co-op.
There's a lot of there are some stage where you feel like it's Titanfall also. You see the war running and stuff like that, and then sometimes you control vehicles and platformers. I guess there is it's really by essence it's similar. So the gameplay is asymmetric because the two characters have different powers at the same time.
Okay.
You can play one or the other, but they are obviously complementary. That's just the idea. That's one of the core parts.
By the way, man, I'm seeing some elements from Portal.
Yeah, so again, it's full of video game pop culture, but just pop culture in general reference. You will feel like it's Blade Runner, you will feel like it's Tron, then you have all these medieval part also. At some point, you will feel like you are basically in Donkey Kong.
That was Zelda.
Without realizing it. So
yeah, this is almost Zelda-like, what we're looking at right here.
Yeah,
the one on the right,
definitely.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Then I'll move over to the other one that you want to talk about, of course, which is Fragpunk.
Yeah. Let's.
The game nobody knew it needed.
Do we need to know?
Oh right, we talked about this last week too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because they stopped the release on console a few days before the release, so it's only available on Steam right now, and it's doing okay. I'm really curious to see what's the audience for that. Is it the Valorant audience? Is it some other MOBA audience? It looks actually very good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's great visuals, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure like that Valorant CS:GO space is as saturated as something like MOBAs. Like there's room, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a MOBA shooter, so it's like a shooter with powers. So it's a bit like also Marvel Rivals, but you have your own weapons, you have different weapons. So it's not like Marvel Rivals where it's only the powers are fixed by character. The gameplay change depending on your character. Here it changes depending on your inventory and also your character.
I'm really impressed by the visuals because I feel like this kind of neonish, radical thing, it almost always looks so stupid, but I feel like they have managed to stay on the line of cool, which is really impressive.
Well, it's a NetEase game, so it's once again a game coming from the East, which looks super polished.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the other one?
Yeah.
Okay, we got another.
Are we talking about the news now, or what's going on?
No. Go to Delta Force.
Delta Force.
How's that doing?
How can I not do that? Let's do Delta Force. What do you want to say about Delta Force?
Show the chart and go to max. In the chart.
A short of
in the
Delta?
chart, you go to max, please.
There we go.
How is that for an engagement?
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
So this is like very, very stable.
Yeah.
Since
that's a really good sign.
Is this since December? Roughly, yeah. Very, very stable.
It's only 100, but it's 100K very stable.
Yeah.
So I think it's. I mean, we talked about it when it was launched because it feels it's like a Battlefield killer. Yet another one. But it seems to be holding well. So it probably the people that are playing it that are quite engaged in that one. They've also released a single player campaign. If I'm not wrong.
Oh wow, this is.
I think it will be interesting to see because at the same time, Battlefield has they've opened their playtesting features, and there are some videos that are being leaked in recent days. So I think it will be interesting to benchmark the two games in terms of gameplay. But yeah, it's another one. So it's not impossible to break through in the market. I think that's the point.
Yes.
But you need to be good. You need to come with something that's really doesn't let the player go away instantly because it's broken or because you need to keep people there. You need to keep them there. And I feel like at Delta Force, like every game needs a reason to exist now. And with Delta Force, I believe is that it is playing in it. The space is highly polished, visually advanced. Let's say. Military shooter, and this competition is premium. So there was a free to play option opening.
I did write about this a couple days ago because I was asked on LinkedIn. But I mean, there is room, but you need to have something.
Yeah, you need a reason.
Yes, thank you, Dave. That makes a lot of sense. Okay, gentlemen. Shall we move into the news then? It's supposed to be short today, but here we are. Obviously having a lot of fun. Number one item on the list. This is a pretty huge deal, I would say. Pokemon Go maker Niantic is selling its game division to Scopely for $3.5 billion, which I feel is pretty cheap, but I don't know.
Yeah.
You let me know.
Me too.
Yeah, I think it is. I think that there are a lot of red flags in Pokemon Go. So I'm a big Pokemon Go player, or I was a big Pokemon Go player. And obviously I'm not looking deep into their numbers, and my guess is there are a lot of red flags about the future there.
Is there anything that you'd like to highlight specifically or that comes to mind? Or
it's just there's not, you just get that feeling with games sometimes that there is a feeling of either expansion or contraction. You have a feeling that the developers are trying to work with what they got and get more money out of what they got. And that is the kind of feeling that you have with Pokemon Go now, that I think that as far as like really refining gameplay systems or adding new ones, we haven't seen a lot for a while. They're exploring. Like I mostly played for the exploration. That was my main thing. So here, I'll tell you about why I stopped playing, which I think is indicative. Is the exploration gameplay has basically not been updated since they introduced gym badges, which is, you know, you go to a gym in the world, you get a badge. It's one of the only ways of like exploring the world in a gamified way. And you put them on this little map, and if you look at the map in game, it is comically bad. Like if I'm trying to see like where my gyms are, like it can't really distinguish between Chicago and New York. So that's already a problem. But still, I was into, and you could level up the gym badges. So I was into like, okay, let's get gold and all the badges in my neighborhood. And that was like a fun thing for me. And then I learned that you have a maximum of 1,000 gym badges. And that once you hit that maximum, they start deleting your old ones. So I'm like, well, that sucks. So there goes my motivation for playing with that game. And everyone knows this is a problem. I believe Eurogamer asked them about it a couple months ago. And they're like, yeah. But like, this is the kind of thing that like, you got to address stuff like that. And there's no indication that they're going to. And there's a lot of things like that in the game. At the same time, you know, we always knew it was going to be a problem around this time because for the first couple of years, they were able to release a generation of Pokemon a year. And you had this nice big event where the new Pokemon showed up. And that's the most fun part of the game, right? When you see the silhouette of a Pokemon you don't have yet, and you go out to where it is and you get it. And that was always, but like obviously, the Niantic is not making Pokemon. There is a limited store of Pokemon for them to work with. And so they had to stretch it out a lot. And that means you don't, that kind of excitement is a little different. It's more than like if you are playing consistently, you get the new ones when they show up. And so it's just a lot of it just doesn't feel exciting in the way that it did. I think the only way that the people that I know that remain highly engaged are PvP players. And I'm just don't do it.
And I think when you look at the portfolio of Niantic, there's also a Monster Hunter type of game. Whoa, no. But beside that, it's mostly relies on Pokemon Go.
I would say, I mean, again, I'm not looking at their numbers, but I bet it's upwards of 95%. Like Pikmin Bloom, I think is their second biggest thing, and that's like I played that for a little while. It's basically a step counter. It's a perfectly cute little step counter. But it boggles my mind that anyone would pay money in that. Like, and I'm generally game to pay money in free-to-play games. But like, it's just I don't really understand how that works.
Their other games are mostly also location-based. So there might be also something else that is for sale here.
And research and tech. So that's a big thing that's for sale. So when like there's a dude whose kids go to my school who like runs a AR software development company, and so much of their middleware is coming from Niantic.
Yeah.
By the way, I mean we need to make this very clear. It's the games division that is being sold.
Oh, okay. So they're not getting the research and stuff. So they basically, my impression has always been that the top brass there is not particularly interested in the games except as a means to AR research, and so that would make sense to me if they're like, well, let's just stop, you know.
Yeah. Can you guys please explain, I mean, what's the strategic benefit or goal, maybe, with this specific acquisition?
Buy game, makes money.
I think it depends. I don't know the portfolio of Scopely right now. It might fill a gap. They have Monopoly Go. They already have the mobile players. Maybe they want more players in their ecosystem, and they want to go through. They have Marvel game, they have Star Trek game, they have a WWE game. So maybe it's also a way to enter the Nintendo ecosystem, the Nintendo and the Pokemon ecosystem. So it might be complementary to their existing audience.
Yeah,
I see it more like that. I see it more like user acquisition than anything else.
That makes a lot of sense, I would say. I was about to look at the top like games on the Apple Store, but they make it so hard to view like a list.
Nothing is free anymore, almost.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. let me move over to the next item then, if we are content with that discussion. Is that okay?
Content.
Or do you want to...
Content with that content.
Content with that content. This one is very interesting. Steam saw Chinese users spike and exceed 50% of worldwide player base in February 2025. Please explain.
Explain.
Yeah, I believe there might be a monkey involved here.
But we'll
February.
Oh,
February this year. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I got my timing off.
But this is by language sorting. I mean, how accurate is this to say that it's actual Chinese?
I would say, if anything, that there would probably be... I think it's highly unlikely there are significant numbers of users outside of China with a simplified Chinese store. And it's way more likely that those numbers are offset by people in China not using another language for whatever reason.
So it's Chinese New Year in February. So obviously you will have a natural increase, but I don't know if they mentioned how it was last year. In February. But it's significantly higher than usual. So
yeah.
I mean, the growth on Steam is mostly coming from there. Let's be honest. The growth in active players, in concurrent player is mostly coming from there. That's where the audience is expanding, because it's in Western world, it's more of a saturated market. So the growth is coming from China, potentially also coming from South market in South America. When it comes to players, we are talking engagement. We are not talking about revenue.
Yeah.
If you are a developer and if you see that your audience is half Chinese, you have to kind of think about what you are releasing there.
You also have to think about what you're saying publicly.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen. Yeah.
Yeah, this is the trend. More games coming from it. Well, I think what's kind of ironic is that you have more Chinese players, you have more Chinese developers, and they all join on a US platform.
Yeah,
weird to me. I don't understand how this is happening, and you don't have like WeChat cannibalizing more this kind of digital distribution. Why do Chinese player? And I mean, maybe it's like Western players that they go to Steam because they can play Chinese Western games, any type of game. You know, it's the place to be because it's neutral. It's a neutral ground for digital distribution. So maybe that's the reason. While if you go to the whatever Tencent platform might have, you only can play the Tencent games.
Because of regulations, right?
I mean, I think this is... Sorry, continue.
I think there is maybe a missed opportunity for bigger players in China to keep their audience in their ecosystem.
And certainly the government, obviously, like, another super entrenched thing is Google, but China uses Baidu instead, so it's not like it's impossible. I was going to say, I think this is really similar to like the decline of the English Empire, that even as, America is losing its grip on a lot of the world and other people are becoming more powerful. But like when you saw it happen to England, they retained sort of a real powerful lock on financial markets. And so I think you're seeing a very similar thing here, that even as America, the government, loses some of its control, and American culture as well. Like Korea is now a much more powerful cultural exporter than it used to be. Even if you're seeing that, like, the bones of the internet economy that were built in America are remaining very strong.
Yeah, and I guess I posted that news. Maybe I was not in the podcast when it was covered that the most successful animated movie is now the Chinese movie ever.
I have missed that completely. We did not cover that. If you have any links, that would be appreciated. The most successful animated movies are Chinese now?
Yeah. It's Nezato.
Yeah, I don't remember that either.
Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Should I open the chat on my side? And
it's a $2 billion blockbuster.
Well, okay. If you
can find the chat in this window.
On the right side, there is a chat, and then you can click Studio Chat.
No, because I have the pop-up window, so no, I can. It's gonna be good. Ding, ding. Right side, people now.
You'll have to whisper backstage, so nobody sees the links.
I mean, it has been on my radar for a while. I'm surprised I maybe didn't post it here because I know it's not video game, but I think it's the same trend.
Yeah.
And this is, I think, most of the revenue of that movie is China only. And there is also a shift, like the US blockbuster are not that successful in China anymore because they are producing better blockbuster for their markets.
Well, I remember for a while that a lot of Hollywood movies tried to either have the movies set in China or have a sequence of China or something related to China.
Yeah, like Iron Man 2, like he had to go get surgery by the top doctor in China, and it had no bearing on the rest of the plot.
He couldn't fly him over as the richest man in the world or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, gentlemen, should I move over to the next item? Okay, then we are gonna jump over to the news. Ori, have you heard about that?
Oh yeah.
No Rest.
The Rest for the Wicked was cool to see. I wish them the best.
Okay, let's see what happens here. So Ori, No Rest for the Wicked studio goes fully independent in aftermath of Private Division closure. Take-Two had previously retained rights to latest game.
Yeah, I'm not sure they own the studio own the rights to Ori. I think the Ori rights belong to Microsoft.
Yeah, I thought so as well, right?
Yeah.
But No Rest for the Wicked.
It's Austrian. I didn't know it was an Austrian studio. And they have almost 80 people working there.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty big.
I mean, and there is a news below that they've sold 15 million units of all Ori games.
50 million.
15.
And that probably excludes any revenue generated from Xbox Live or Game Pass, rather.
Yeah. I have to read it more specifically. But I think you're like, well, this is a really successful game. And still, it's not a recipe for long-term success for a studio.
Yeah. Okay. I'll move over to the next item, which is very interesting as well. I keep saying the word interesting, I feel like.
You know why? Because this newsletter is always interesting.
Exactly.
So yes, if you haven't heard it before, subscribe now. Thank you, Manu. Lego is starting to bring its game development in-house. Key exec says. I mean, we've heard about Lego for the past year, both from the Minecraft perspective and sorry, not Minecraft, Fortnite perspective, and they're investing more and more in games. We see a lot of jobs on their boards. Talk about that. Is there anything else you'd like to add to this piece?
No, I think they also had the racing game with 2K, and there is what's the other one?
Is that a game coming out soon, or
Lego football game also?
Really?
That has been teased. Yes.
I did not know there was a Lego football game, but this has nothing to do with an actual Lego set, so to say.
Yeah, and unlikely. I mean, they might have the footballers, but no more than that. So
I just found an old Lego Football Mania from I don't know, maybe 10 years ago.
And they've also published incredible financial results, the Lego Group. So
yeah, Lego Group's on top of the world, definitely.
Yeah, and it's privately owned, but it's the right, when you have money, it's when you invest. So I think it makes totally sense that they want to conquer the virtual worlds in the same way that they've conquered the physical toy world. worlds, toys, and it's more than toys, because when you see how many adults are actually building Legos more for decoration than anything else.
We let me just help Dave out here. Did we ever like do you see a future where we ever see toys to life again?
Yeah.
I muted you, Dave. I muted you. Dave.
I know I keep saying I'm going to finish my background, but this Lego cherry blossom will go.
Oh, nice.
I like
that's
showing
cool.
your Lego set where I have probably 100 around me.
I'm sure. Yeah, this is the one I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have something new here. Look at this. I have the Back to the Future.
It's the Lego one. I was wondering. That's good.
They just announced the Mario Kart one. That looks cool. A big Mario Kart one.
You should have the Iron Man hand too. I see you have the some hand on the back also.
No, this is you're talking about this thing. This is Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh yeah. It's the.
I was tricked, by the way, because I thought it would come like a full scale hand, and became this small thing. I was like, "What the hell?"
It's more.
But Dave, did I get you correct? Did you say there's a Mario Kart Lego?
Yeah, they've had some things like that before, but it was like a pretty big set. I think like that big of just like Mario on his Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Kart.
I think the challenge for Lego when it comes to video games is it still has to look like Legos, which means there is a part of the audience that's not interested in playing with blocks or playing with block type of graphics. Right? It's difficult to have this visual fidelity. So
I would be interested to see if they like doubled it.
As long as they are lucid and they accept that they cannot compete with every single video game, I think it will be fine. But there is an audience that's probably never going to play a Lego game just because of the tone of the graphics that have to match the brand.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. It works really well with the whole metaverse concept. I know we don't talk about that much these days, but it is a perfect fit for that already. Both like in terms of the product, and also in terms of their excellent business relationships. Right? They have relationships with basically every entertainment property on Earth.
Okay, gentlemen, should I move on to the next one then?
Yeah.
This one, I'm not sure if it's worthy of news, but maybe you can enlighten us a bit. So EA's Skate gets microtransactions before its release date. So there's an alpha for Skate, or an alpha test rather, and they've introduced microtransactions, and I assume that's just part of the test to figure stuff out. But is there anything of value here that we should be reading into?
I mean, when you are with your massive playtest like that, you want to test everything, I guess. And beside that, a portion of players will always be offended whenever there are microtransactions, even when it's a free game. So I think it makes sense, but yeah, there is always some kind of backlash when it feels like the game is being designed for microtransaction. If you add them too early in the process, maybe.
Yeah,
fair enough.
And Skate comes from an era when people were making a lot of accusations against EA, and I feel like that's in the air.
And we've had microtransactions as a staple for like almost 10 years now, right? Would that be correct to say?
More than 10.
If not more.
Yeah, I would say the thing is staple. 10 is probably about accurate. I'm thinking around like 2009 or so. It was still like 2011. If you were going to put microtransactions into a $60 box at the time, it was still news.
I guess IGN maybe should get their shit together. I don't know. I'll move over to the trends. Sega promises fewer new games, but deeper investment into Sonic, Atlas, and Like a Dragon.
This is also the trend where the big publisher, they rather focus on less IPs and double down rather than just going for a very wide portfolio.
So I feel like that's a strategy that like made Activision what it was a very long time ago. Because they just super nailed into Blizzard and Call of Duty, at the time like Skylanders.
Yeah.
Anything else on this one specifically? I mean, but it says Atlas here specifically. Isn't that's a studio, right?
And, yeah, Atlas is a Persona game, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a studio, and it's like also it's one of those studios like From that is a brand as well. I would say that like you're allowed to say like it's Persona, but like they make other games, and you're like it's an Atlas game, and then
Metaphor
people kind of know what you're talking about. Yeah, exactly. Fantasio.
Sorry, apologies.
They've done it again.
I'm just gonna highlight quickly here. I'm just looking at the games that Atlas has made. Upcoming releases. Oh, no new upcoming releases. Just Metaphor, Fantasio.
That's good.
That name, by the way.
Yeah.
But okay, fair enough. And I do agree, by the way, that Atlas is a brand in itself. It's a stamp. If you see that logo, then you're guaranteed a certain experience. Next item on the trends: Netflix first game boss exits following 2024 leadership shift. Is this almost the same thing that happened with, like, remember when Google wanted to do games, and I don't know who else wanted to do games, and they hire all these big wigs or famous industry folks, and then 3 years later, oh no, okay,
we didn't. Very Google. They got one. They got Jay Raymond. They got Xbox guy. Yes.
Where's Ami ending now?
So I'm just going to read off the article here. Last fall, the company shut down Team Blue, the studio that was developing the company's first AAA game. It has nixed several previously announced game releases, and Verdu's most senior colleague on the gaming team, Lenny Lombe, who ran third-party relations with outside game makers, left Annapurna in January. Yeah. This is this like it seems like it's just part of a recalculation. And focusing on maybe what you're supposed to do and not. Or
I think it's hard to make video games at a large scale.
You have no idea.
Yeah.
You have no.
This is what people are saying. Lots of people are saying this.
You cannot just get the people and think you're gonna have instantly a portfolio of amazing games. It's built on the big publisher. They've been around for a long time. They've had their success. They also had many failures, and I think we are in an age where you expect to have 5 success out of 5 when you start this big stuff, but it's not how it happens.
Yeah. One out of
Amazon 5. Amazon is still working on their gaming division, right? They are not. They keep working on it, and they also had some success and some failures, but they are probably the ones that are the most likely to succeed at some point, because they are the most restless. No, not restless. They continue.
I mean, they made a game, right? Most of these other people never really got to the point of releasing like a functional, interactive piece of software.
They just try, and then after 2 or 3 years, they just move away. But
I mean, in this day and age, you have to release at least 1 or 2 before you understand what you're actually doing. Especially if you're starting from the ground. And it doesn't matter if those people are experienced. It's not gonna it's a shame that things are going that way, but it's not unexpected, I would say. Especially considering the past 10 years, so to say. Dave, was there anything you wanted to add, Dave, or
no?
I misread that.
Nope.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll move over to the next item here then on the trends. We have how Riot Games is preparing for the next generation of players. This one I'm very interested in understanding. Is there anything specific they're looking at or doing? Research.
They're releasing a game, Do XKO.
Let's look at that. So, wait a second. It's not a hero shooter, right?
It looks. I think it's fighting game because that's.
Let me see. Is there
what
any...
it says?
Okay, they're champions. So is that? Let's have a look.
It's the same champions. So they keep their ecosystem of champions,
which is obviously what they should be doing. Like I haven't really played. I played League of Legends, just know about, but I watched Arcane. I'm like, hey, Jinx, and now I'm a little more interested than I would be before. So
it's a free-to-play fighting game, 2v2 tag team fighting game. Yes.
Oh, wow. Great. That's amazing. It looks great, by the way.
And I think what they are mentioning here is that they are gonna have some kind of social lobby in the game where you do something else than just playing.
Like Street Fighter, where you're like walking around and like doing different things.
Yeah, unlike I think in NBA, you have that too, NBA 2K, and But I think the League of Legends audience is also edgy.
Yeah.
And the League of Legends audience only plays League of Legends most of the time. 80% of the time, probably it's spent on that game. So it's difficult to move that audience around. It's, I think, difficult to get a new audience also. So that's why they are trying other solution, probably games that cater to a different audience.
I have a group of friends who are all in their early 40s, and now they have this group where they show up at a gaming coffee. What is it called? What are they called again? Coffee gaming cafes. Gaming cafes. That's the word I was looking for. Every Friday almost, and they just exclusively play Counter-Strike.
Yeah.
So this makes a lot of sense.
That's live service, or even not live service. So once you get your thing, you do your thing.
Exactly. But the 2XKO game looks pretty cool. I mean, we haven't seen a lot of fighting games make waves in the past, like a couple of years. So I'm looking forward to this one. Okay, I'll move over to the next item then, which is maybe we don't want to talk about that. I don't know. Monster Hunter Wilds causes sales of actual cheese naan to skyrocket in Japan as food cutscenes drive players into cheese craving crisis.
I mean, I haven't played.
I haven't played Wilds. Did you experience that? Did you experience that?
I haven't played Wilds. I remember playing Worlds and being like, yeah, I want it. Like, I want a little cat to make me some food. And it looks really good.
Same with Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. But I mean, I still such an iconic quest in Final Fantasy 15, the cup noodles quest. I just it really made me want cup noodles, and it made me want to kill a giant crab for a delicious topping.
I think it's just funny. It's like product placement, but not really product placement.
It's just good. It's just real good product placement. I feel like everyone should pay attention to that.
Did people drink more Monster cans when? What was that game called again? The Kojima game?
Stranding. I'm sure. Yeah.
That one was terrible, in my opinion. It was,
but that one had that Kojima verve to it, where like he just doesn't give a shit, and so it like wraps back around into being great.
Yeah, but I just felt like it was so out of place. Like you have like this drama and everything happening, and then, we were just watching a video here where a restaurant was like, their sales tickets were like pumping like crazy. But to answer your question, yes, Monster Hunter cooking makes me hungry. It looks amazing. The food looks amazing. I got gout. I'm not sure if I told you guys, like 3 weeks ago, for the first time. And now everybody's claiming that I can't eat meat. Okay. But in Monster Hunter, those steaks look pretty fat. Like those are really good steaks. So hopefully I can have some steaks soon.
And a good product placement was indirect was the Red Bull can in PUBG, which was not a Red Bull can, but it has the color.
It's like fake John Wick in Fortnite.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Fun times. I'm really happy about that. That item is really fun. Thank you, Mano, for adding it. I'll move over to the rumors. So there's a rumor now. So it's a rumor. I like how they put it as an exclusive.
Well, I put that as a rumor. They don't do that anymore.
Exclusive. Okay, now I see. Okay. Okay, so exclusive. Xbox's new hardware plans begin with gaming handheld set for later this year, with full next-gen consoles targeting 2027. I highly doubt this, but I would love to hear from you.
I mean, didn't Phil Spencer said something about it, right? This is like he
did?
confirmed it. Yeah. I don't think. I mean, I'm not sure he confirmed the date or anything, but
I think they are talking about Asus doing actually a portable Xbox or portable device, and I saw some other source talking about the equivalent of the Steam machines, but Xbox. And that's basically, I think I've said that a few times already. They might open their hardware in the sense that anybody could build the Xbox in the future or an Xbox machine. And I think that's probably what's going.
I think it could do perfectly fine, but I think one of the issues is the best you can do is to be almost as good as Steam.
And absolutely. Yeah. That's the solution. And I think they really want to merge experience between Xbox and PC from a user perspective.
Absolutely.
So I think we're gonna get there. And the other thing is when they were talking about potential having these Xbox machines, is that you could install any operating system on them. So I don't even know what would define them as being Xbox, but that's maybe they would have a standard of hardware. That might be the thing, which helps for the developers in the same way that the Steam machines were probably like that.
I'm having trouble seeing though that anybody would build a device like a PC, a custom built PC, just to play Xbox. I don't know.
The only answer is Game Pass, but I think that we've definitely seen that is not as good an answer as it needs to be.
Dave, thank you for bringing up Game Pass. I'm very curious to hear, by the way, when it comes to PlayStation's version of Game Pass. I think it's called Essentials, maybe. Are there any thoughts about that thing? Like, how are they faring? Is it as interesting? Do they have a big catalog similar to the Xbox One?
I mean, the major difference is that Xbox has their exclusives day and date-ish. Obviously, there's some discussion around that, but they have all their exclusives in a sense that you don't need to buy the retail versions, and Sony is not. So that makes it a very different service in my mind.
Well, we aren't seeing that many either these days.
No, it's true.
We used to get like at least 1 or 2 per week, and now it's like, per year, not per week.
Per week. We're up to Last of Us 35 at this point.
Yeah. Okay. Next item on the list, my friends, is that a Respawn, reportedly, this is a rumor, the makers behind Apex Legends and Titanfall Studio reportedly cancels unannounced FPS. Mecha disappointing. So supposedly there was an Xbox game that they were working on. Sorry, FPS game. My mind is everywhere right now. And they haven't, or they canceled it supposedly. Is there anything to learn from this, or?
No. Actually, it's a rumor. It's just news.
Yeah. I mean, people be canceling games.
Okay. In that case, my friends, I will move over to the numbers, and we have discussed most of these items, so I'll just pull up the last one here. The Outlast Trials clocks up 3 million players since launch. What is the Outlast Trials? Is that the Outlast, like the game? The horror game?
Yes.
The Outlast was a game. I think there were 2 games, like horror games, hide and seek type of games, and then there was this multiplayer version of it.
Yeah. Okay. Are they doing anything special with that game specifically, or is there anything we?
No, I think it's just a number. 3 million. It's not that much when you think about it, neither. Yeah, but in current time, it's not bad. And I remember when it was released, it had this hype on Twitch.
Just now, I got some Left 4 Dead vibes.
Yeah, it's more less action. It's less action.
Less action. Yeah. Okay. When we're looking on more footage here, I feel like there's a lot of these types of experiences on Roblox that I've seen. I mean, obviously not
that's right. Horror is a big deal on Roblox, definitely.
Absolutely.
And on Fortnite.
Yeah. I mean, horror, I think we've definitely seen that horror just cooperates really well with modern social media. And so we've seen it to be pretty reliable across media, right? In Roblox, on Steam, and in movies recently.
Okay, gentlemen. I think we've reached the end here. Any other things you'd like to bring up or discuss?
I don't know.
It's been
I have a question for the afternoon. Should I play Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 or Squash? That's really a philosophical question.
You should play Kingdoms
Squash.
Yeah,
Squash.
It's a non-video game.
Oh,
a real life game.
A real life game.
Yes.
Because I'm playing with Luigi tomorrow, so I'd like to practice a little bit before that. But I don't know. We'll just see. I do find that having gotten back into playing sports in the past couple of years does provide me an interesting perspective on game design. Because of course these are designed games. It's just a set of rules, you know.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, let me then close the show. Thank you everybody for joining us. It's been a very short week, or very few news this week, but I think we covered some really cool stuff, especially related to the Lego news as an example, and some of the other things we covered in the beginning.
And I think it just means next week is going to be off the chain as far as...
I hope so. Yeah. I hope so. Maybe we'll get some more games to play as well. Of course, as always, subscribe, like, do all these things. And with that being said, thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.
Thank you so much. See you. Bye.
Bye.